Sipple, it says we're live. Are you there? Well, welcome in, Husker Extra Live. Don't know if Sipple can actually hear me talking. We are in the greater Chicago O'Hare area. There he is. Sipple, can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, there you are. Can you hear me? You there, Sipple?
What?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right,
Yeah.
Live. There we go. There's Sipple. I'm Parker. We're in different hotel rooms in the same hotel. We just watched Nebraska lose to Northwestern 21-13. David, what's up? This rendition, like all renditions of Husker Extra Live this year, brought to you by Dinsdale Automotive Group of Grand Island and Hastings. You can see the logo right up there in the corner of this here video. Sipple, as people fill in, Jamie, how you doing? David, what's up? What was your gut reaction from Nebraska's loss this afternoon?
Well, a lost opportunity for sure. I mean, they had opportunities. They had prime opportunities to win the game, including really up to the last possession. And they just came up short. But I mean, I would say, okay, one thing I'd say before I turn it to you, Parker, is I felt that if Nebraska would have scored late, they would have sort of defied the football gods.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree with you.
I had sort of determined on my own as a football god that they didn't deserve that they maybe didn't deserve to win that game had they won.
You are a football god.
Yeah,
right up there with John Madden.
Yeah, Madden and Stram, Landry.
Yep, exactly.
Maybe
Bear Bryant,
Sam
Osborne.
White. Yeah. So yeah, Nebraska, Parker, you can chime in. 9 penalties for Nebraska, two killer interceptions. Adrian's interception was really an energy sucker.
Yep,
I mean, it was a spirit sapping interception. Nebraska was going. It looked like they were driving in for some sort of score, either a field goal or a touchdown that would put them ahead. And he made a late read, interception, and now what? He gets pulled for McCaffrey, and here we go, Parker.
Yep, I agree with you. I mean, I thought it was just the thing that really amazed me, and I'm sure we'll talk more about this, but Nebraska's one touchdown drive on the day was a one-play drive for 3 yards. And other than that, they ran 87 plays, racked up 439 yards, and all of that offense yielded 6 points. I mean, that's just, even though the defense played pretty well, not perfect, that's just no way to win a game. It always seems like we come on here every week and have the same conversation about details, penalties, turnovers, mental mistakes, special teams errors. Just, it hasn't gotten any better, it doesn't seem. Certainly not the first 2 weeks this year.
It doesn't feel like it as one of the I saw someone pointed out on Twitter, Parker, Nebraska was jumping off sides in an empty stadium. I mean, they're having it wasn't like they're having communication issues, right? At the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
And, veteran players were coming off of change of possessions on the first play and jumping off. Now, what that indicates to me is just a simple lack of. That's just not being locked in, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's really not much more explanation for it. Yeah. Okay, so let's there's already a bunch of comments. Let's get to them. Chris says, GBR for life from Ogallala. Jesse, what's up? David Coder says, Sipple for president. Daniel's watching from Knoxville, Tennessee. Chris Wigginton says, gut punch. Pretty simple.
Yeah. I'd say it was a gut punch.
Yeah. Good evening,
Parker,
Luke.
you faded out. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree with you. Gut punch. Good evening, Luke. What's up? Here's one, Sipple. Hey, fellas, do we have a QB1 decision-making problem? Just roll with us. I think the internet might be a little bit shaky. On the QB1 decision-making problem, Tyler, yeah, I mean, the decision as it pertains to quarterback probably goes a couple of different ways. I mean, one is, you just saw Adrian Martinez looked really good at times and obviously didn't at other times. Same can be said to probably a lesser degree with Luke McCaffrey. Obviously, we didn't see as much of McCaffrey. And then as it comes to making a decision about who QB1 is, that's going to be a decision in its own right going forward. Frost didn't want to talk about it after the game and told Sipple, don't read too much into the change. He just thought they needed a spark. But obviously, quarterback play is critical, and they're going to have a decision to make. Sipple, are you there? We'll see if we can get Sipple back online here. Otherwise, he'll just sit there and look stately on the podcast. Sipple, are you there? Nope. Okay. Jamie sloppy. Yeah, no kidding. Sam, red zone play calling is a disaster. Well, it's always more than one thing, right? I mean, I thought I certainly, Scott Frost forgets more about football in a day than I know about. So far be it for me to, criticize too much. But yeah, I mean, I thought the sequence that led up to McCaffrey's interception in the red zone where they Sipple, are you there? Where they ran the ball as a read and Northwestern just completely swallowed it up and then threw it on second down. I thought was just indicative of the struggles that they had in the red zone the whole day. Watch this. I'm going to text. You guys are going to watch me. I'll hold my phone like this. I'm going to text Sipple from the other room. So this is life in the pandemic, guys. They have a long way to go. Yeah, Jim, I mean, it's hard to complain about that. Or it's hard to argue with that. Sipple, you can see him reading my text there now. I'm confused why 7 wasn't in the entire game. Well, Daniel, I mean, Martinez entered the game, obviously, as a starter. We exited not sure what's going on. The issue is, and Scott Frost talked about this after the game a little bit, is they had a couple things that they wanted to get McCaffrey involved with, and they just couldn't do it early in the game, and they didn't get to it. And he said Nebraska or Northwestern sort of took it away from them, and then they couldn't get back to it. It's the same conversation with Wendell Robinson. I mean, Wendell Robinson has to have more than 4 touches in a game. There's just no excuse when you run 88 plays in a game that Wendell Robinson touches them on 4. Really, I mean, that's something that's on the coaches, right? And not just Frost, but the offensive staff in general. They have to get the ball in their playmakers' hands as often as possible, and it just didn't happen tonight. Why can't Frost adapt his offensive scheme to an under center power run? Well, I mean, Russ, they're always going to, they're going to run the stuff they think it works. I mean, they're not just so yeah, more under center, maybe. I mean, more power stuff, maybe. But they like the zone-based running attack, and they like the read option, and they like their quarterbacks in gun with the ability to work. I don't know if that's the issue. They just got to execute it. Any shot Frost gives up play calling captain, probably not. Hey, you can hear me. There you go. Welcome back in.
Yeah, it's Hey, just for the listeners, it's fading in and out, so it's breaking up. So we'll just if you can't hear me,
goes dark.
That's why. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we can hear you. Your picture's a little pixelated, but you start Luke the rest of the season. Chris says, do you agree with that? Sipple?
Well, how can I sit here and make it? I don't know. I don't see him in practice. I don't know what I haven't seen any of the practices, so you don't know what's going on in that picture. There's so much you don't know.
Right.
It did look like the offense moved at a quicker rate with Luke McCaffrey. Adrian didn't have an efficient day throwing the ball, and he threw that just a critical interception. 12 for 27 was what.
Yeah,
12 for
that's
27
tough.
with a. Yeah. They're in a fix now, right? They're just in a fix. Adrian is only a junior. But as you said, Parker, here's the key. They're going to need Adrian. It shouldn't be tough to keep him engaged. As much as they run that quarterback right now, and I don't know if you've gone through those numbers yet, but they're running that position a lot. They'll need Adrian again.
Yeah, so in the 2 games so far this season, Nebraska running backs have 34 carries for 120 yards, 3.5 per carry. And the quarterbacks have 45 carries for 316 or something like that, 7+ per carry. And that is good numbers now, not just for Luke McCaffrey, but for Adrian Martinez too, running the football. Obviously, in order to play quarterback, you have to be efficient in the throwing game. And Martinez, the yards per attempt were fine against Ohio State, obviously, no touchdowns. And now today, it's just simply not much, to write home about. 12 of 27, like you said, Sipple, is just not very efficient. Nebraska through 2 games doesn't have a passing touchdown, right? So that's obviously a concern. You've got 4 turnovers.
Yeah, and Adrian. Yeah.
From the quarter, you got 4 turnovers from the quarterback position through 2 games. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work at that level of turning the ball over and that lack of efficiency.
So, I don't know how Scott will handle it. There's a couple ways you could do it, right, Parker?
Yep. Oh, man, Sipple was just about to make an awesome point. And then he froze up. Are you there?
Oh, I'm back.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah, I'm back.
Couple ways to handle
it this way. You could you could go into practice on Monday and say, listen, whoever has the best week, whoever has the best 3 or 4 days here, that's going to be the guy. Let's just see how it goes. Or, it could show up on Monday that McCaffrey's taken a lot more snaps with the ones, and it becomes clear who the guy is. Yep. I guess right now I would lean toward McCaffrey because I think they need a spark. And I think the program needs a spark. Yeah. So my gut feeling, if I were the coach, my gut feeling is you try McCaffrey. But you're in a fix though, right? You can't. You wonder about Adrian's confidence, right? And now you're sending McCaffrey out against a pretty good Penn State team that entered the season as a top 10 team, is inexplicably 0-3. But it will be tough. It'll be tough for that kid to manage that defense. So I don't know. What my gut is? If I were now, I'm not a coach, but I'd just be tempted to say, okay, guys, whoever has the best week of practice is going to be the guy.
Yeah, I tend to think, and Frost said, it's going to continue to be a competition. I tend to think that's how it'll go. But I also think that if the default before the season went to Martinez because of experience, the default now, you could envision a situation in which the default now goes to McCaffrey.
For a spark.
For a spark. Yeah, exactly. Matt says.
By the way, one other thing, Parker. That's why Frost said they went to McCaffrey.
Yes.
So there's some credence to the spark comment.
Yeah. Sam says we look like we've practiced our first series all week, and then after that we stink. Yeah, they move all offensively between the 20s. Yeah, Sipple froze up again there. I don't know. He must have terrible internet in his room, which is literally 2 rooms down from mine. The thing about the third quarter, which Sipple was about to say, they've just been really bad in the third quarter. Not just this afternoon and against Ohio State, but dating back. They got outscored by a lot in the third quarter last year. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but that's been trouble coming out of halftime. And Sipple, they had a chance to really make a statement coming out in the third quarter today, didn't they?
Absolutely. It was 13. Nebraska led 13-7 at halftime, remember? And now Northwestern got the ball though. And right away, what happens? They get a 36-yard kickoff return. I think it was Kyrick McGowan, right?
It was.
Oh no,
yes.
I don't. Yeah, okay. So
it was McGowan,
right away, you lose momentum on the kickoff return, and then during the drive, two third and fours, they pick up. One of them was a pass, and one of them was Peyton Ramsey scrambling for 12 on a play that I thought what showed up was just Nebraska's general lack of. Can you hear me? If you had a playmaker, a big time playmaker, you wouldn't. Peyton Ramsey doesn't get that 12-yard gain. If you, me and Parker were talking, if you have a Levante David and a Randy Gregory out there, that quarterback, that particular quarterback, doesn't pick up that third down probably. So I think their lack of playmakers.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with you. All right, yep, Sipple, there you are. Okay, I'm going to tee you up 2 questions in a row that maybe you can package answers together for, or maybe they're separate answers. Jack says, at this point in the Frost era, is the lack of focus and undisciplined penalties concerning? And Randy says, I saw a lot of hanging heads when we were still in the game. Sideline reporter said some players were yelling for others to get excited. Why is there still a need for that?
Okay, I would say the first part, the penalty issue that continues, kind of just the unforced errors. Absolutely, that's a problem. I mean, there's no. Scott Frost would tell you that's a major. He basically did say that's a problem, and it's on him. Of course, that's a problem because it indicates lack of focus. It indicates lack of intensity, and it indicates lack of want to. Some of that is just going, especially in an empty stadium, is just going to the line of scrimmage and thinking, I have to do my job on this play and every play. Okay, I don't need to preach on that. It's pretty self-evident. The lack of spirit, I watched it closely today, and I didn't think it was profound, but I certainly didn't think Nebraska had a real hard edge. At defense, they did get to the ball. Go ahead.
Well, Patty's question follows this line of thinking. What did you make of Mills' comment that some people weren't trying hard enough?
Well, he was asked about what was happening in the red zone, and he did say that that's a big or not a big problem. But he mentioned that as a problem. And sure, everybody's ears perked up. And I think he's talking about a lack of focus and a lack of knowing exactly what to do. And those things are really concerning at this point in Frost's tenure. You see cultures flipping programs in 1 year sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, I don't know. I mean, there's something that's off, and come on, this is a program that's lost 7 of 8 games. I mean, it's lost 7 of its last 8. For us to come on here and say something's off, I'm afraid we're not giving the people enough here. But when you're not around the program every day, it's hard to know exactly what the deal is.
Yep. Matt says Ty Robinson looks like the real deal. Yeah, Matt, I agree. And Luke Reimer too. I mean, Frost said after the game, and I know that especially after a loss that looks that ugly, people don't want to hear about silver linings, and they're just that. They're silver linings. There were a lot of young players that played pretty well today, from Ty Robinson and Luke Reimer, Nick Henrich, Piper and Bennett. I got to watch the offensive line play a little bit more closely. Obviously, I don't think they played as well probably as they did against Ohio State. Missing Cam Jurgens obviously is a big part of that with the shuffle that ensued. A couple, Daniel says, I'd love for Nebraska to bring back the option offense. Yeah, Daniel, I know what you mean, but a lot of their offense is predicated on option and read as it is. And this goes to John's question, why not give the ball to Mills when 1st and goal on the 3 where Luke threw an interception? They did. And again, I'm only going to question play calling to only a certain extent, because first of all, far be it from me, and second of all, you don't know exactly what it is. What it looked like on 1st down was a read to Mills, and I don't know if there was a read or if it was a give the whole way, but Northwestern completely had it swallowed up. I mean, they had the read man, assuming it was zone read, and the overlap player sitting there, the two unblocked players sitting there behind the line of scrimmage. And it's easy when that happens, it's easy to sit there and say, like, they should just run power 4 times. And then, of course, you get a ball, gets deflected and intercepted on the next snap, and a negative play on first down turns into disaster. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely understand the frustration. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just, we're getting to the point where you went dark there, Sipple, and Jesse said you got benched where they couldn't hear you. Martinez's inability to throw the ball downfield is concerning, Greg says. Yeah, I mean, the just inability to push the ball downfield in general. 4 touches for Wandale Robinson. Yeah, Jake, I agree with you. Sipple, you there?
Now I am.
All right.
Yeah, now I am.
Yeah. Why hasn't Wandale been more involved, Adam? Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, Frost said after pretty plainly they need to give him the ball more. He's got 10 catches for 81 yards so far through 2 games. And that's just not 10 touches in 2 games for that guy. It's not nearly enough. I mean, they got to find ways to get him more involved. And if you have to manufacture that, then manufacture it. But they got to do it. Young team, never thought we'd be so thin in the veteran category. Michael, well, the concerning thing is that they're not that young. I mean, they're playing a lot of young players, but they've got seniors on the offensive line. They've got veteran tight ends. They've got a senior running back. They've got a veteran quarterback, and they've got 7 senior starters on defense. I mean, it's not that young of a team when you're talking about the guys that are out there playing. Sip's head gets smaller each time he freezes, Randy says.
Yeah.
I'd
say let's head it off.
Yeah. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty here. We appreciate all of you guys joining us very much. We will be back. We'll podcast on Wednesday. We'll be back for Husker Extra Live on Thursday next week. But in between now and then, we've got a ton of game coverage up on HuskerExtra.com right now. You can read through, take your anger out, whatever. We'll have more tomorrow and then on, obviously, all week. So thanks again to Tom Dinsdale Automotive Group of Grand Island and Hastings for sponsoring this live video and also our podcast. For Frozen Steve over there in the room next to me,